but Robin fell to the ground. The knight said,
"Now take me to your leader. Take me to Robin Hood."
She took off her helmet, and Robin was very surprised. It was his dear Marion. Robin took off his beggar clothes. Marion recognized Robin. She, too, was very surprised. Then they kissed. There was great happiness in Sherwood Forest that evening. Marion and Robin were finally together. Friar Tuck married them after a few days. There was a big wedding celebration in the forest. Maid Marion was now part of Sherwood Forest. She was gentle and kind to all. Everyone loved her. Chapter 6. The Sheriff's Ride. Robin Hood's fame was everywhere. The people called him Saint Robin and Robin, Sheriff of Sherwood Forest. A lot of new outlaws joined Robin Hood. They were loyal to him and followed him everywhere. The sheriff's men did not want to go to Sherwood Forest to capture Robin Hood. They were afraid. The Sheriff of Nottingham was very angry. He wanted to capture Robin, dead or alive.
"What is wrong with my men? They're afraid of Robin Hood. They're all stupid cowards. I don't need anyone. I'm going to Sherwood Forest alone. I'm not afraid of a legend."
The sheriff left for Sherwood Forest alone. He entered the dark forest and saw no one for a long time. Suddenly, a group of outlaws jumped down from the treetops. They made a big circle around the sheriff. Then they took out their swords. The sheriff was terrified. His face became white. One outlaw said, "Well, well, what do we have here? The Sheriff of Nottingham in person!"
"Oh, please, don't kill me,"
said the cowardly sheriff.
"I can give you everything I have."
The outlaws laughed at the sheriff and said, "Our master is waiting for you."
"Robin Hood?"
asked the sheriff. "Yes, Robin Hood. You are invited to eat with us."
"I'm not hungry. Let me go. I can give you money, gold, jewels. But please, let me go,"
the sheriff said. "Start walking, you butcher," said Will Scarlet. The outlaws took the sheriff to Robin Hood. Let's kill him, the outlaws cried. Let's kill this fat butcher now. Robin Hood looked at the sheriff with disgust. He wanted to kill him too, but Marion stopped him.
"We are not butchers like this man,"
said Marion.
"We are honest people."
"Sit down and eat with us, Sheriff,"
said Robin.
"After the meal, I have a surprise for you."
The sheriff was not hungry. At the end of the meal, Robin said,
"Now give us everything you have. Money, gold, jewels. Then take off all your clothes. Get on your horse and return to Nottingham naked."
Robin, Marion, and the outlaws laughed wildly. The sheriff got on his horse and returned to Nottingham. He was very cold and very angry.
"I must capture that Robin Hood and destroy him,"
shouted the sheriff. When he reached Nottingham, the people saw him naked. Everyone looked at him. They pointed at him and laughed loudly. "Long live Robin Hood, the Sheriff of Sherwood Forest!" they cried. Chapter 7. The Silver Arrow. After his adventure in Sherwood Forest, the Sheriff of Nottingham said to his men,
I must capture Robin Hood and destroy him. How can we capture him?
The sheriff thought for some time. Then he said,
I know how we can capture him. Let's have an archery competition here in Nottingham. The best archers of the region always come to the competition. The prize for the best archer is the famous silver arrow.
One of his men asked, But will Robin come to the competition?
Of course. Robin loves challenges,
said the sheriff.
He will come disguised, and we must discover him.
The sheriff's messengers went everywhere and told everyone about the competition. One day Friar Tuck heard the news. He immediately told Robin and the outlaws. Robin said,
I'm the best archer in the region. I can easily win the silver arrow.
Oh, Robin, don't go,
said Marion.
It's a trap. The sheriff wants to kill you.
Yes, Robin,
said Friar Tuck.
It's a trap. It's dangerous for you to go.
I must go. I never refuse a challenge. I will disguise myself as a poor peasant. No one will recognize me.
Can we
come to protect you? Asked Robin's men.
Yes, you can come disguised as peasants too. You can stay in the crowd, but be ready to fight if necessary.
One morning in May, Robin and his outlaws went to the archery competition. When they arrived in Nottingham, the castle square was full of people. An archery competition was a special event. There were musicians, acrobats, children, lords and ladies. There were colourful flags everywhere. All around the castle square, there were difficult targets. There were many excellent archers at the contest. They all tried to hit the targets. But the best archer was the peasant in the red cloak and hood. He hit all the most difficult targets. The crowd shouted with joy. He was the winner. The sheriff was silent. He knew that the peasant with the red cloak and hood was Robin.
Guards! Stop that peasant in the red cloak!
Cried the angry sheriff.
He is our enemy, Robin Hood, the outlaw.
The sheriff's guards ran to capture Robin. But Robin's men attacked the guards. There was a lot of fighting. Robin and his men killed or injured most of the sheriff's men. Then they quickly left Nottingham and returned to Sherwood Forest. When they arrived, they celebrated their victory. Chapter 8. Alan a Dale. Robin and Marion were walking through the forest when they saw a young man sitting near a river. He was playing a lyre and singing a sad song.
Who are you? And why are you singing this sad song?
Asked Robin. My name is Alan of Barnesdale, but people call me Alan a Dale. I am very unhappy because I love a girl called Alice. She loves me too. But her father wants her to marry a rich old baron. The marriage is tomorrow at Papelwick Church. The young man was so unhappy that he started to cry. Robin and Marion looked at each other. Marion remembered her similar situation some time ago. Then Robin said,
I want to help you, Alan a Dale. I have a plan. Come with me.
Early the next morning, Robin sent his best archers to Papelwick. They hid inside the church and all around it. Robin, Friar Tuck and Alan a Dale disguised themselves as simple peasants. Then they went to Papelwick. They entered the church and sat down. At midday, the bishop and the rich old baron entered the church. Then Alice arrived with her father. She wore a white dress and she had flowers in her hair. She was beautiful, but very sad and pale. When the bishop began the marriage ceremony, Robin stood up and said,
My lord, an ugly old man cannot marry this beautiful young woman. Winter cannot marry spring.
What?
cried the bishop.
Sit down and be silent.
There is no love between that old man and this young woman. You must not marry them.
The bishop was furious. He cried,
Guards, arrest this peasant immediately.
At that moment, Robin's men stood up and pointed their bows and arrows at the guards. The guards did not move. The bishop ran out of the church. Alan a Dale ran to Alice and embraced her. My sweet Alice, I want to marry you. Alice was very happy and said,
You are the only man I want to marry.
Friar Tuck married the happy couple at Papplewick Church. Then everyone returned to Sherwood Forest to enjoy the wedding banquet. Alan a Dale and Alice lived in Sherwood Forest with Robin, Marion, and the outlaw. Chapter 9. A Stranger in the Forest. One evening, Robin was hunting in the forest. He saw a knight riding an old, tired horse. The knight wore the red cross of the Crusader.
Good evening, young man,
said the knight.
What is the name of this forest?
This is Sherwood Forest, sir,
answered Robin.
I have come from the Holy Land. I was there for many years. I fought many wars against the Turks. Now I am very tired and hungry,
said the knight. Robin said,
Brave knight, come and eat with me and my men. You can stay with us tonight.
Thank you for your offer. I am happy to accept it.
The two men rode through the forest together. Robin told the stranger about greedy King John and his wicked sheriff. He told him how the poor people suffered. He explained why he became an outlaw. The stranger listened carefully. There was a good meal of roast pork that evening. The stranger liked the merry company of Robin, Marion, and the outlaws. He talked about his adventures in the Holy Land. At the end of the meal, Robin stood up and said,
Let us drink to good King Richard, and to his return.
Everyone cheered and drank to good King Richard and to his return.
To King
Richard! Then the strangers stood up, took off his head covering, and said,
My friends, I must tell you the truth. I am not a knight. I am your King Richard, also called the Lionheart.
There was silence for a moment. The surprise was so great. Then everyone at the table cheered and cried, Welcome home, King Richard! Everyone knelt down. Robin said,
We thank God for King Richard's return.
I am a lucky king. I have loyal people,
said King Richard, with tears in his eyes.
I know that my brother John and his men are dishonest and greedy. Now I am here to punish the bad and bring justice to all.
King Richard looked at everyone and said,
You are not outlaws anymore. You are now free men, and all friends of mine. Robin, the lands of Locksley are yours again. You can all leave Sherwood Forest and live as free men.
There was great excitement in the air. That night, King Richard slept in Sherwood Forest. The following morning, he rode to Nottingham with Robin, Marion, and his friends of Sherwood Forest. When the sheriff saw them, he ran away and never returned. After the king's return, Robin, Marion, and Little John went to Locksley. They lived a long and happy life. Some of the outlaws returned to their old homes and villages. Some went looking for adventure. Others became soldiers in the king's army. In everyone's heart, there was a beautiful memory of the years spent in Sherwood Forest.